If you're a fan of Isagi Yoichi, please prepare yourselves for one of the best chapters in all of Blue Lock. The amount of 10 out of 10 panels here is actually insane, giving me so much hope for what this winning goal could possibly look like. What's going on everyone, my name is Animasu, and today we'll be taking a look at Blue Lock chapter 282, titled Need You. If you enjoy staying up to date with Blue Lock and would like to support your boy, please take a few seconds to click that subscribe button, drop a comment, and consider joining my community Discord down below. Without further ado, let's get right into today's amazing Isagi-oriented chapter. Blue Lock chapter 282 begins with a slight view of the star change timer, as less than a minute remains for the Masters at play. As Julian Loki speeds up the pitch with the ball in possession, Kaiser tracks his movements with metavision while looking pissed off. The announcers are also screaming out in excitement, with the number one question being who will score the winning goal and how. With Kaiser continuing his pursuit of the speedster, we then see Isagi Yoichi continuing the Congo line by chasing behind Michael. As puzzle pieces expel in black and white colors from his back, Isagi realizes that Kaiser is not a genius as he previously thought. Instead, he too is a talented learner, a player who grasped the field through his senses and cold logic. Isagi then begins to think back on his previous interactions with Kaiser, now realizing that all of his words and actions had reason behind it. His taunting of Isagi, his challenge as a striker, even him pouring his heart out to Alexis Ness. This does confirm that Isagi overheard that conversation and also makes the connection to Ness here, so it's great to see that. Anyways, he continues on to say that even the Kaiser impact was crafted through logic and time, so maybe Isagi or even Reo Mikage could copy it. Sadly, he isn't quite that, so unlike Itoshi or Julian Loki, he too must make plans around the world standard. Wait, the world? Making a connection within his mind, Isagi questions if a talented learner and a world-style egoist are actually the exact same thing. While a world-style egoist performs best in relation to the world's value, a talented learner faces their opponents with honest logic, being the connecting stone in these two concepts. A snowball effect then occurs as he makes more connections, realizing that self-style egoists would be geniuses under this analysis. Thinking even further on this, Isagi says that pursuing value in relation to oneself is what produces a genius's inspiration and innovations. With the similarities too obvious, Isagi states that they must be the same thing as it fits perfectly into his analytical framework. The world doesn't just revolve around these geniuses. The only reason they've ever been discovered is thanks to talented learners, who require analyzing their play to produce their own greatness, admiring and competing with one another. Talented learners and geniuses hone their egos with this fighting and end up evolving. That's exactly how Isagi Yoichi and all of Blue Lock have grown fast and far, because ego seems to have the ideal hotspot for chemical reactions. With all that data input, Isagi says that geniuses and talented learners are not a hierarchy, but rather a back and forth rivalry, a relative relationship that causes both parties to evolve. We get this really cool chibi representation of a skill perfectly balanced, showing the two egoists maintaining the yin and yang in the process. The chapter is just filled with absolutely phenomenal visuals, and you guys haven't even seen the half of it yet. Continuing on, we then see Julian Loki running up the midfield with his lethal speed, as Ryusei screams out and Hiyori just runs along. They seem to be alright for now though, as Noah arrives looking very annoyed, wrapping his arm around Loki to hold him back. A person we don't see in the direct area though is Isagi Yoichi, who is breathing out with a clear head, sure that he's now on the right path. As Loki quickly bypasses Noah though, Isagi continues on to say he's been fighting using the wrong methods to evolve this entire time. Geniuses and talented learners, self-style and world-style egoists have vastly different ways of using their abilities and evolving, and nothing will happen unless his efforts and talents align. As he then fixes his gaze on the worried new generation 11 striker, Isagi begins to think like a talented learner, looking to learn from Kaiser for answers. How is it that Kaiser can hold his own against these geniuses, despite being the same exact ego type as Isagi? He first started being effective within this match once he returned to zero, dropping his fixation on Isagi and the options he always relied on. He applied himself logically and worked alongside Ryusei and whoever was best, because that's how a talented learner fights. Sprinting up the field with a blacked out background, Isagi realizes that he too must drop all of his fixations in order to reveal his true zero. The rivalry he has with Itoshi, his malice towards Kaiser, even his admiration towards Noah. Page 11 shows all of that peeling away in an amazing panel, perfectly calling back to Kaiser's return to zero. Isagi Yoichi has also dropped all of his fixations and things tying him down, and his body begins to peel apart as puzzle pieces fly away, revealing the original and true light within. Sprinting up the field as the darkness surrounds him is illuminated, Yoichi finds out what is left of him at last. I wanted to win. With an amazing double spread of Isagi being reborn from his old self, scenes from the past are shown where he screamed and sobbed over the loss we saw in chapter 1. This frustration came from his deep desire to win, which he still holds on to. Isn't that right, Yoichi Isagi? With our boy tweaking over here in his own corner, Noah and Julian Loki are still going at it, both now in the flow state, crashing shoulder to shoulder. Ryusei screams out for Hiyori to help with the press, however with Loki cracking a smile, he threads a pass between the two, and they step in helplessly. This pass was intended for Itoshi, who traps the ball with his left foot while once again facing off against Igarashi. He screams out for the monster to just come on and try him, but this time, he looks nervous for some reason. Itoshi, however, looks calm and collected, realizing that if he continues to crash into him, the actor will just fall over and get him carded. This time, however, it will go differently, as he prepares himself to take the space that Julian Loki clearly made for him. I do find it hilarious that he calls Igarashi an actor, because despite having a weapon meant for making fouls, Itoshi cards are 100% deserved in this game, honestly being borderline assault. Anyways, that has no effect here, as Itoshi bypasses that altogether with a stylish roulette turn. The monk is left diving at the air looking clueless and pathetic, as his weapon has been shut down. Loki encouraged him to completely bypass him and approach the goal, which with that happening now, two defenders remain at his front, being genuine NPCs. They attempt to coordinate and cut off his path, but we all know how that will play out as he charges into them, daring for everyone to just come and bring it. Pushing both defenders off balance and barreling onward, Itoshi seems to be slipping back into that berserker state now that he's bypassed Igarashi. He directly says that he wants to dive headfirst into the monster breakpoint, which does not seem to happen yet as his eyes remain clear. His slobber and spit, however, is flying through the air, which is made apparent by this giant glob Nomura put on the panel. Insane. Appearing from inside of the box though, playing defense, Isagi Yoichi arrives with an entirely whited out look and blacked out text bubbles. He calls out to Rin and tells him to bring it, knowing that the NPC defenders aren't just enough to entice him. The sight of Isagi clearly pisses off the berserker, however Isagi too is tweaking on a whole nother plane. Rin, if you're a genius monster, then I'll now be one on the side of talented learners. The final page shows Itoshi charging forward in the reflection of Isagi's eye, pushing past the defenders as he's now back in his berserker form. Isagi is ready to face off against the monster once more, but this time, as the new awakened Yoichi. Isagi's eyes have been distinct looking this entire chapter too, with puzzle pieces extending in a cone shape, and even more than that, bro is now glowing bright white. This matchup is giving me heavy Ultra Instinct versus Ultra Ego vibes from Dragon Ball, and maybe it will play out similarly, with Isagi reacting to every dribble perfect. The way this matchup goes is really up in the air, however if Isagi is acting logically, shouldn't he stall Itoshi until more help like Kaiser can arrive? If all he cares about is winning, then he knows that taking on Rin one-on-one is statistically improbable, so he should instead run him in circles, essentially never giving him the full satisfaction of a challenge. Whatever the case may be, comment down below what outcome you all expect or just really want to see. I know Isagi fans were jumping up and down to enjoy this chapter, because as one myself, I proudly was. Anyways, with that being the end of today's chapter review, I just want to thank you all so much for tuning in. If you enjoy staying up to date with Blue Lock and also would like to support the channel, please click that subscribe button, comment below your thoughts, and feel free to join my community Discord down in the description. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one.